The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 8th day of August, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, she's Sencha Durham, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Happy Monday, Sencha.
Happy Monday, Jamal.
Monday. Yeah, I have to ask, usually Mondays when you're on, I ask, how was Mommy Maddox over the weekend? What'd you do?
I have not seen Maddox this weekend, and this is the life of an entrepreneur. So, a few of my girls went down, took sick, all sorts going on. So, I've been at Nail Bar since Thursday.
Yeah. So you actually have, do the nails and stuff?
I'm answering the phone like, "Good day, how may I help you?" I'm greeting people, I'm choosing polishes, I'm making sure they have a great experience. But you know what? I actually like it. It gets it kind of, it allows me to see what's going on, what we need to work on, and it's good. It's good. I like it.
It's like an episode. What's that show? Where the boss goes and Undercover Boss? Is it Undercover Boss?
Okay. Yeah. Kind of. I don't think they like too much when I work there. They're like, "Oh, she's here again. She's making the schedule fully booked." I don't like telling people no, right? So I'm like, "Well, how can we make this work?" So there's a few. It's a lady, Miss Sandy. She says she watches the Daily Hour.
Hey, Miss Sandy.
Miss Sandy, and she tried to get in, and I'm sorry, I could not get her in. I felt bad.
Miss Sandy, I apologize on her behalf. It's just, it's busy, Miss Sandy, but we love you and appreciate that you watch the Daily Hour, Miss Sandy.
Yes.
We got you next time. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today. We're going to discuss direct airlines, what would make sense for Bermuda, before focusing on whether the people have felt the impact of the improving GDP, according to the minister. I don't even know what Jason Haywood's the minister of, so I'll just say the Honorable Minister Jason Haywood says Bermuda's improving GDP. And folks, I've got something for you on that. So tell your friends and your friends' friends and your family and your family's family to tune in, because either this government is stupid, they think the people are stupid, or both. But we'll get to that. The Daily Play is a Who Said It. So Sancha's got that covered. She's got that covered.
Who said it? Okay.
You got that covered. It's easy peasy Japanese. Yeah, it's easy. So look, let's talk about it. So last week, Sancha, there was something in the Royal Gazette titled "New Airline Hopes to Forge Bermuda to Caribbean Routes." And basically a new airline registered in Bermuda with plans to forge routes between the island and Caribbean destinations. Freedom to Bermuda Limited was granted an airport operator certificate by the Bermuda Civil Aviation Authority last week. So this is according to the Royal Gazette. The company has its sights on buying two, I don't know anything about airplanes, but 107 Embraer 170 jets, which can seat up to 78 passengers for trips to Anguilla. Now, that said, I know Bermudians in particular have, wanted a direct route to the Caribbean forever. But I guess the question of the morning, folks, and this is what we have to remember, that when it comes to flights and airlines in and out of Bermuda, it is about Bermudians, the greater picture, but it's not about Bermudians wants. What do I mean by that? It's not about where you want to fly. It's about what's going to benefit Bermuda and you long term going to fly. Like, where are people going to come to fly to Bermuda that's going to put money in your pocket? Well, hopefully your pockets, because government be taking stuff. But anyway, that's another show. What direct airline route do you believe Bermuda would benefit from most? Like, if there was an airline direct route that you believe would benefit Bermuda and Bermudians most, what would it be? We've always had gateway cities like New York, Boston. We've got Atlanta. We've got, I think it's Heathrow, London Heathrow now. It was Gatwick for years. We've got Toronto. We've got Miami. But what route do you believe would best benefit Bermuda? What are your thoughts? Sancha, you seem like you're hungry for this one.
Well, you hit the nail on the head as usual. I'm not quite sure that this flight is actually bringing tourists to Bermuda. I mean, it's beneficial for us to want to go and visit. I mean, the same as the Azores flight. I know there are lots of people going to the Azores, but how many people are actually landing in Bermuda from the Azores to say, you know what, this is a destination that is new to us? And I feel like the same thing is going to happen. It gives us access, but how many tourists are actually going to be coming from? I mean, I'm not quite sure. I see people coming from Bahamas to Bermuda or from Jamaica to Bermuda, making it a stop. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think, I get you. I get you. Before we go for a conversation, Samcat Play says, morning to the H family. I spotted Sancha yesterday, LOL. She tried to duck.
I specifically said to her, I was like, don't tell him you saw me eating French fries. And oh my goodness.
Liana, write that down. Sancha had French fries this past weekend. We'll keep a note of that. Tanya Cheeseman says, Azores, maybe not all year round, but peak periods throughout the year. Well, how would an Azores flight benefit Bermuda, though? And when I say benefit Bermuda, let me just break it down. We just spoke about influencers, right? Can these influencers, followers, afford a ticket to Bermuda? Once they afford the ticket to Bermuda, can they afford accommodations in Bermuda? Once they afford accommodations in Bermuda, can they afford to go out and eat or pay for groceries in Bermuda? Are people from Azores or catching that Azores flight going to be able to contribute to the Bermuda economy? That's what we have to think about. So the question is not about what benefits us in terms of us traveling places. That's not benefiting the Bermuda economy. That's money going out. What direct airline route do you believe Bermuda would benefit from most? Notice it's not Bermudians, but Bermuda. What airline? Bermuda. Think big city. Think where economic activity is happening that's going to drive the economy. Headley and Stevenson Swan says resume flights from Bermuda to Jamaica and vice versa. Again, how is that going to benefit Bermuda?
Yeah, I feel like that flight to Jamaica that happens Christmas time. What happens? Everybody's full. The people from Jamaica are going back home for Christmas. I'm not sure it's that return.
Correct. And that's why this is why we have these conversations, because I would love a direct flight to the Caribbean. I would, if you ask me what place in the Caribbean, I would say Cayman Islands. Economically, that's the one that would make sense, right? Economically, right? It would give businesses the opportunity to go back and forth if need be, because we are in a remote world now. But we have to think deep and think big. Like, what's going to be economically beneficial for Bermuda? What are some key gateway cities that Bermuda's missing out on?
Yeah.
I mean, do we need a flight direct to somewhere in the Midwest like Chicago? Chicago is the third biggest city in the U.S. After that is Houston. Do we need a direct flight to somewhere in Canada outside of Toronto?
I was just going to say, I feel like we possibly need to sort out the flights that we have, because when I flew to North the other day, going and coming, it was packed. And apparently that flight is like, can we not have more than one flight per day? The flights that are full. Yeah. I
think that would be a demand thing. I think, that comes down to the destination. And we know, the destination has been struggling for quite some time. Samcat Place says maybe LA and Chicago. I would agree with Chicago. I would agree with Chicago. I would definitely say LA. The challenge with LA is the purpose of like the Miami flight and the New York flight just for people to connect. But I those are the kind of cities that are booming with business that could help. Another one in the Midwest, Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is booming for business, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk just relocated his business from Silicon Valley. Maybe San Francisco, Silicon Valley, booming with business. This question is about what would benefit Bermuda most. Michelle White says to have a direct flight, it should be somewhere where we want to travel. It's never going to be about where you want to travel because look, let me break it down this way. Business is about volume. So I believe Tamara Richardson was on some time ago. And Sanchi, you definitely get this being in the space you're in. But it's about volume. Bermudians are only 60,000 people. Of that 60,000, the percentage is very low of who travel. No airline is making a decision to travel in and out of Bermuda because of Bermudians where they want to travel. This is the mindset I would love, if anything. My job is not to get you to think like me, but I really want us to think and hopefully get out of our mindset that, oh, we need a direct flight to this place because Bermudians want to travel here. You all don't. It's a volume thing. Target can order a certain amount, 1 million shirts for 10 cents and charge a certain price. Bermudian businesses can't do that because they don't even have 20,000 people that's going to buy one size. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we have to think a bit deeper in terms of what's going to benefit Bermuda, not what's going to benefit us as individuals. Charles H. Jeffers II says a year-round flight from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia will benefit Bermuda from a group business perspective. Bing, go. DC, not sure if many people know, that is the hub for associations. So you think of the Nurses Association, the Bar Association, that's the hub for association business, right? So if Bermuda wants to make any impact and inroads in that space, then you need a direct flight from that area. That's what we're talking about business-wise, how it would benefit Bermuda. I hope that's making a bit of sense.
Yeah. I didn't know that about DC.
Yeah. Oh, DC is the monster of all monsters when it comes to association business. Yeah, it's a monster. Carlton Fleming says Munich, advanced economy and code. Interesting. It's hopping, right? People have said for years having one direct flight to Europe isn't beneficial to Bermuda, and it's really through the UK. What does that look like? Is it a daily thing? Is it in every other? I know. Is it Barbados and Jamaica? Some other islands have added flights direct to Ghana, for instance, right? Again, does Bermuda have the volume? Is there business in Ghana that can directly, or Africa, that be the link between Africa and Bermuda, other spaces that can really help drive Bermuda's economy? Mm-hmm. Michelle White says Bermuda can be the hub for Europe and Asia. We have a large airport. Let's use it. We have a terminal. We don't have an airport.
I was just gonna say that that's a whole nother conversation, but I recently have been in that airport and I'm so disappointed.
It's spacious. It's spacious, but it's a terminal. Let's just keep in context. Bingo, Rosalind. I was waiting for someone to say this one here.
Switzerland.
This is what I was waiting on. I was wondering if someone would say Switzerland. I think when we're talking about what would benefit Bermuda economically, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
It only makes sense. Now, what does that look like? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Because remember, the UK flight for years has always been a couple of days a week, or sometimes during the summer it'll increase, go up. But what does it look like? That's you have to work out the logistics of things like that. But economically, that's one that would probably work for Bermuda. The amount of companies in Bermuda that also have bases in Geneva, Switzerland, it makes sense. It works. It works.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So what direct airline routes do you believe would benefit Bermuda most, folks? Let us know in the comments. What do you think will benefit Bermuda most? What's that?
No one has mentioned anywhere in the Caribbean, really, other than Jamaica.
Yeah. I mean, I said Cayman Islands. I think Cayman Islands is booming.
I think Cayman's a good one as well.
Yeah. I think Cayman is very similar to Bermuda. It's big business booming. What that would look like, I don't know. There are other islands that are doing things, although not in the Caribbean. Bahamas, doing, they're big in the apparently the digital uh, banking space, right? So that can be something that may benefit. I- It, it's a tough one because it does require thought beyond what we're used to, and it requires thought beyond what we consider the norm, right?
Yeah.
But I just want us to really think about these things. Think about not necessarily our individual needs, but the country as a whole. Like, what could benefit Bermuda, Switzerland, DC? These are things that make sense. Renee Simmons says economically, Atlanta and San Francisco, LA for the US. I agree. Bingo. Like and both. I said both of those. Barbados and Cayman for Caribbean. The reason I was thinking Barbados, I'm gonna tell you, because maybe it's just what I see or read, but Mia Mottley, the Honorable Mia Mottley, seems like the most sound leader in our lifetimes when it comes to leadership in the Caribbean, right? I would love a direct link for Bermuda to Barbados just because of I come across something weekly that she's doing, and I'm just like, should I forward this to David Burt? But then it comes back to me, it's like, going back to the Honorable Randy Horton last week, he didn't say it specifically, but he kind of, insinuated like the guy doesn't listen. So what point does it make sending David Burt something if he's not going to take it and listen anyway, right? But she does something literally weekly, and I'm just like, my goodness, Bermuda's crying for leadership like this. Middle East Dubai is the hub for Hong Kong, Africa, Australia, Singapore. I thought, honestly, I did think Dubai. I just don't know enough about beyond the residents there and how they would, help Bermuda by. But you saying it's a link, that makes sense, Renee Simmons. Anika DeShields says Bahamas or Barbados. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. What airline route do you believe Bermuda would benefit from most, folks? What airline route do you believe Bermuda would benefit from most? Think big. Don't think about where you want to go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
Don't think about where you like to travel to. Think about what makes sense for Bermuda. And I'm going to just go down a list of some things that have been said already. We've got San Francisco. Makes sense. That's the economic hub of the United States, really, outside of New York City, when you're talking tech jobs, at least, right? Los Angeles, I mean, it's the second largest city in the US. Chicago, the third largest city, big business in Chicago, right? Obviously, we already have flights to New York, so no need. Austin, Texas. Elon Musk moved his Tesla companies to Austin. Many others have done that. So Austin is huge, huge. I think it only makes sense to go where the businesses are, go where the big players are. Austin, Texas. Outside of the US, people have mentioned Cayman Islands. Makes sense. And again, these direct routes don't have to be daily, folks. So we have to be strategic. They don't have to be daily. But Cayman Islands, Barbados, Bahamas, Switzerland. Munich has been mentioned. Dubai. What would make sense economically for Bermuda to where we can consider another route? What hasn't been said? South America, anywhere in South America that would make sense for Bermuda. Oh, someone, literally, Michelle White just said South America, Brazil. I recall there used to be a business connections there in the past. Yeah, like thinking like South America, there's a lot of business there. It's just about, Panama. Would Panama make sense? All I know economically is the Panama Papers that were released not long ago, and they didn't speak too highly of Bermuda. Yeah, that wasn't good at all. Anika DeShields says years ago there was an Air Canada flight that stopped in Bermuda and went down to other Caribbean islands. Canadian tourists used to plan to stay in Bermuda and continue to other islands for holidays. Love that. Love that. Airline industry has definitely changed. Sean Smith says, I am not sure if BTA has really promoted Azores as a connection point between Southern Europe to Bermuda. A lot of Europeans visit Portugal in the summer. I don't know what the Bermuda Tourism Authority does. So I wouldn't know, Sean. Sorry, I can't answer that as far as what they may have done. But this is an interesting one. It's an interesting conversation. What airline route do you believe Bermuda would benefit from the most? Um, we definitely need some. But Sandra, you made a point earlier. You said we need to get the current routes that we have like sorted.
I think I have mentioned this before. Um, when Ewart, back in the day, when it came to transport, he would negotiate some routes with the airlines. Say what you will about whether you love them, dislike them, whatever your opinion is. When it came to, negotiating routes,
Mm,
I feel like during that time, Bermuda, like our airlift, it made sense.
mm,
Right now, a lot of the airlift, I'm sure, has to do with hotels, and but we're not in that space to negotiate and say what we want. We don't have enough heads and beds. So
mm.
yeah,
You don't have
but
any beds for heads.
that's
Goddamn, we don't have any beds for heads in Bermuda, right? Um, Charles J. Jefferson II says, "What about somewhere in Africa?" Well, I mentioned Ghana earlier, Charles. I think that would make sense. But also, I mean, it's far, but Johannesburg, Cape Town, South Africa. I mean, they've got some decent business in those areas as well. But definitely, I know I want to say Barbados and somewhere else in the Caribbean had spoken of. I don't know if it's in existence of a flight to Ghana round trip. So there's some ideas. There's some
yeah.
ideas, folks. Let's bring Leanna in, see if Lee has any ideas of where she thinks a direct flight should go. I think she may say, I'm gonna do this to her. She don't like when I do this, but I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna think she's gonna say maybe Madrid or Barcelona. Let's see. Let's see. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
You think you know me so well. Good
Was I wrong?
morning. Good morning, guys.
I was gonna say, where did that come from? Why does he think you're gonna say that?
Well, because I used to go to school in Spain. So naturally, I would love a direct flight to Spain because I was going to say to either, somewhere Madrid, Barcelona. That way we could get to Morocco. We could get to, the north of Africa. Like, yes. A lot of the ideas I had have been mentioned. Texas was high up on my list as it's becoming one of the largest metropolitan cities in the US now. It's like the third largest now. So, it's growing business over there. I love Cayman Islands or somewhere in the Caribbean. A direct flight would be great. And I love the ideas. I think someone said it, but it was like Australia or somewhere like that. I know it's quite far, but
South
it's
America.
far.
I didn't see Australia, but I think Australia, that would be far, but
That would be very far. Oh no. Oh no, we've lost Jamal. No, but no, these are some, and then Sancha, yes, I do definitely speak to you when it comes to making sure that the flights that we have currently are
Mhm.
running in more frequently, so that way we could get in and out the island a little quicker. I know that we've had a lot of passport issues that we need to deal with first too. A lot of people aren't able to travel right now due to that reason. So there's some things we need to play catch up on before
Yeah.
we start, getting to that conversation.
Yeah, and Rosalind Famous says it here, as I mentioned earlier, also taken into account is what is actually possible as a direct route, airline logistics. Yeah, folks, the airline industry is very simple. Honestly, it's supply and demand at times, but they're not going to put an airline route that doesn't make sense for their bottom line. At the end of the day, it's not a charity business. It's literally to make money. So that's what it really comes down to. But as Sancha mentioned, when you have people like Dr. The Honorable Ewart Brown in the room, things get done.
Yeah.
I think that bar's so low in Bermuda at this point. Anybody's in the room. Anyway, Leanna, it's time for that news break, ain't it?
It sure is.
All right, let me do that before I get in trouble. Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamal and Sancha, and good morning and happy Monday to everyone that's tuned in with us today. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day and are ready for the upcoming traditional work week. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, we are kicking off the week and our news break with some extraordinary news as we congratulate Bermuda's Janai Parent-Chief, who made an outstanding showing to win a bronze medal in the triple jump at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham over the weekend. Parent-Chief came out with a major leap to start, a distance of 16.92 meters, which earned him the bronze medal and Bermuda's second medal of these games. And also, he managed to stamp his name into the records of Bermuda sporting history. Now, the 24-year-old becomes the first Bermudian to medal in athletics at a major games since Clarence Nicky Saunders, who won gold in the high jump at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, New Zealand back in 1990. Now, Parent-Chief told Burn News, quote, "I feel great. I'm happy to do it for Bermuda. I've always thought, why can't I medal? I'm from a small nation, but we have a lot of talent," end quote. Well, the entire TDH community congratulates you, Janai Parent-Chief, on your medal win. In other news, Bermuda's Pride Parade is set to return to Hamilton this month and as part of a weekend of activities celebrating the island's LGBTQ plus community. Now, Out Bermuda, Bermuda's only LGBTQ plus focused charity, said that this year's event will include a parade, parties, a discussion forum, and a worship service, all taking place between August 26th and the 28th. Now, the charity said it is hoped that this year's event, themed Love and Live, will build on the success of the island's first parade event in 2019, which brought thousands of people to Hamilton to celebrate. And you might notice more lights and sirens on the roads over the next few weeks. Well, don't be alarmed. It won't always be an emergency, but the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service is advising that it will conduct an emergency driving instruction on the roads. Now, the exercises will begin today and run right through until next week. A spokesperson said that the public should be aware that during instruction, the increased use of sirens may cause a degree of concern or distress, for which the BFRS apologizes in advance. Now, motorists should give way when approached by emergency vehicles. Motorists are urged to exercise caution during this period and be aware of their surroundings, as the fire service vehicles are very large. The public should also be cautious as the instruction course runs day and night across the island. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 88 and a low near 79 degrees. Summer continues to reach peak temperatures as we'll see blazing sunshine to start this day. Now, you might get a slight breeze with light winds. With high pressure in charge, our light southeast breeze becomes variable in direction. It will continue to be hot, dry, and mainly sunny for most of the week. Today's humidity stands at 83%. That's all for our Daily Hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sencha in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right, thanks so much for that, Lee. Look, before you do the days of the year, I think one of the days we gotta, what's the clap that Janai was doing?
Yes.
The clap. He had the crowd in it. Like it was something to see. It was something amazing to see. The confidence that he showed, and even after his jump, right? It gave me goosebumps. I don't know about you, but I had goosebumps watching it, and I am happy as a Bermudian. Leanna, I know how happy you are for that to be your top story. But on this Monday morning in August, so happy that a young Black man is the top story for achieving something on the international stage, and the first one to medal since when?
Since 1990.
Man, look, man, let's get those cheers going, man.
Give him a round of applause. Yes.
You better show up for this boy, man. Show up for this guy, seriously, because I could go on and on for this forever. I mean, it's sports, a young Black man. We got Brian Wellman in his corner, just mentoring him. He's got his coach, and he is showing up. Janai Parent-Chief, congratulations, man. Keep doing your thing. I'm sorry. Taking my head out.
Do you want to know what today is?
Sure.
I don't know. That sounds like a trick question.
Right? Like a setup.
Today is Happiness Happens Day.
Ooh, so fitting.
Right
So
in line.
fitting.
And
Happiness
look,
happens.
we don't. Uncle Grump over there is not normally happy, so it's a happy day for him today. Happiness. It's what people want most out of life. If we aren't actively looking for it, we're talking about it, spreading it, dreaming about it, or hopefully experiencing it. For many, it's a goal to be happy, and for some, there's always those who seem to always be happy. Jamal,
I'm happy every morning we do this every morning.
I have one more day though. Quickly.
Uh-oh.
No, this is a good one. I was like, I had to do Happiness Day, but then this one I felt like I had to recognize as well. Today is National Hair Braiders Day.
So U.S. national U.S.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they and I was surprised. I was like, I'm happy to see this. So it's an opportunity for reflection, advocacy, education, and celebration of the cultural significance of hair braiding and the professionals who do it. Hair braiding is more than just a form of style. It's culturally significant act with deep roots in many communities. Unfortunately, braiding and braiders are not often treated with the same respect as others in the cosmetology field. So National Braiders Day is a chance to recognize the thousands of braiders around the country for their talent, hard work, and contribution to our cultural heritage.
I think this is amazing that we're celebrating this day. Honestly, I'm glad. Sandra, thank you. No, because it's an art. It is, and I don't understand why they're not celebrated more than other cosmetologists.
I can tell you.
There we go.
I can tell you.
That's an art to be able to do those lines and zigzags, and they take this and put it there, and it's a lot.
You can tell the difference of when I take Maddox to get his hair braided. I braid it myself. I gotten good over the years, right? And Maddox was about one. You look at his hair, it was like, what is going on?
You don't have the skills, is what you're saying.
That's what she's saying.
My skills have improved.
Oh, they've improved. I just want to say, I mean, we've come a long way with braiding. I mean, years ago, Black women couldn't wear their braided hair on TV or
in
at
the
work.
Workplace. Yep.
Period. And now, look, man, people ask, why are you dressed on? Look, we are one of you. What the church used to say. I mean, they didn't abide by it all the time, but they used to say, come as you are, right? Look, folks, it's cultural, and I know what's that girl family quote that the white girl family that they wear the braids and they start wearing them and people say it's cultural appropriation. Kanye married one of them.
Kardashians.
Yeah, damn. Like people act like they made braid and cool and whatnot and all that. Like, no, folks.
Absolutely
no.
not.
That's not how it happened. This is cultural. This is a thing. This is, you go back to the ancestors and this is, again, it's not for me. I don't care about being accepted. I care about us just being who we are. And if people don't accept it, then we just create our own spaces.
You struck a nerve bringing the Kardashians into this, Jamal.
You did. You really did. Sandra, I was like, oh.
you struck a
I'm
nerve. You struck a nerve.
Lee, I'll let you go on that note. I think I start some fight. Lee,
I think we need to go on that topic at least one day this month. I think we need to talk about cultural appropriation, please.
Oh, we can do that. I mean, there's plenty of it happening, and we, for some reason, collectively seem to embrace it. Folks, don't go anywhere. We got some conversations. Your minister, Jason Hayward, said some stuff, and we got to discuss it. Lee, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll tune in. See you guys later.
All right, folks, let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've got to talk about this stuff that the Honorable Minister Jason Hayward said last week, and we need to figure out if you're feeling the impact of his words. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis sped her bed again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show, Central Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed on our website so you don't miss a chance for updates, promotions, prizes, and more. Also, if you're on the go and can't watch, that's okay. Download the BCG Radio app, available for both Android and Apple devices, and you can listen to us every single episode we go live. So we are back on the station. Thank you to Sister Sherry, using her time on a Sunday to make sure that we are good to go up on the app. And also, folks, if you haven't already, I know a lot of people still watch on Facebook, but YouTube's the place to go. Make sure you go over on YouTube, you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss every time we go live or just announce something and share something. Just want to show some love. There were people in the audience giving love to Janai, Faith DeRosa Gilks, Tanya Cheeseman, and also Rosalind Famous states, and a special congrats to all the athletes, including my cousin Sakari Famous for finishing 8th in the high jump heat at the Commonwealth Games. Yes, congrats to all the athletes. Just to make it to that stage is a tremendous accomplishment. And please know that the Daily Hour community and Bermudians are proud of you and looking forward to supporting you as you continue your professional endeavors. Yeah, on the I always wanted to be an athlete, but height didn't really help me in many respects, and I'm no Lionel Messi. But Sancha,
Any sports?
yeah, I played every sport and I have trophies, but once I realized sport would not do it for me, it was time to focus on business. But yeah, I didn't just play sport, I won at sport. I was sport. And when I got back to Bermuda 2007, I coached, and they won as well. But anyway, enough about my great exploits when I was young. No Pop Warner trophies around here. No charity. No participation. We don't do that. We do first place only over this side. That's right. So what happens when you get into sales? You have to have that attitude. People say not everything's a competition. To who? To who? Yeah. Spoke that competition. See, it's not about likes and followers. It's about the bottom line. Bottom line. Keep that in mind.
You know what is funny? So Maddox goes to Summersfield and they give everybody a participation ribbon. They're like, you participated, it's okay. But then he also track and field, he gets so angry. He's like, but Mom, I came first. So how did they, he came last. So why did he get one too? But at track and field, they're very honest. They're like, listen, it's first, second, third. Anybody else try again?
Yeah, man. No, that's what I do. But folks, let's jump. So we've got some things to talk about. So the Honorable Minister Jason Hayward last week titled in the Royal Gazette, GDP grows for 4th consecutive quarter. Well, the article says rebound in tourism and strong consumer spending is keeping Bermuda's economy moving in the right direction, according to newly released first quarter figures. According to Jason Hayward, the economy minister, says total business registration slipped by 0.8%, with 266 new businesses registered, a decline of 17.1% from the previous year. Well, let's touch on this first. Let's touch on this. And folks, the question is going to be, are you feeling the impact of an improving GDP, right? Well, let me read to you what GDP means, and then we'll go to the first part. So GDP, what is it stands for gross domestic product. What is gross domestic product? Total monetary or market value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's borders in a specific time period, usually done quarterly or annually, right? So pretty much remember when Bermudians would say we're the richest country in the world, they would always do it based on GDP, even if they're bank accounts or wallets weren't saying the same thing, right? So that's the meaning of GDP. If you Google it, that's what you'll probably find. I mean, that was what I took from it anyway. Are you feeling the impact? So let's touch on the first part I just mentioned, Sancha. 266 new businesses. If you're going to tell me that, I want a breakdown of the businesses. Why do I want a breakdown of these businesses? If someone's starting, and I'm not picking on any industry, but if someone's starting a restaurant right now, right? And that restaurant no longer exists in 6 months, a year, or 2 years, is that really helping the economy? Now, some people may say, well, yeah, well, it's open. They're paying into something. No.
You
go ahead.
do not see. I mean, you don't start seeing profits for a business within what they say 2 years. You know, for me, it was longer. So no, you probably put someone in debt. They're probably in debt trying to pay off this business venture that they thought would work, that they closed down in 6 months. So no.
Okay. So I feel like, if the minister's going to give these press conferences, it would only be fair to present categories like, of the 266 new businesses, this represents reinsurance or insurance. This represents hospitality. Like, just break it down to us. Because, again, as I stated, and you will understand why I'm going to make this comment over and over, either the government is very stupid, or they think the people are stupid, or both. And we're going to go further. But I want people to really just really walk with us with this as we go through this. So that's number one.
But before you go to the next point, it's also a decline of 17.1% from the previous year.
Thank you for saying that.
Let's highlight that.
Thank you for, well, you mentioned previous year, and that's what we're going into next, previous year. So the Royal Gazette article goes on, is the current economic trends show promise for an environment that encourages economic growth while providing opportunities for Bermudians, he said, the minister. The report shows that after adjusting for inflation, real domestic gross domestic product increased by 3.9%, representing fourth quarter growth year over year economic growth. Folks, let me just read this part. Employment income for the first quarter was 6.2% above 2021 levels. Let me share this. Let me share this with you. And hear me out, audience. Hear me out what I'm about to say. Whenever we're doing reports right now, in most real companies, organizations, guess what they're doing? If they're doing year over year, they're doing year over year as compared to 2019, not 2020 and not 2021. Why would you do a year over year in comparison with 2021 and act like tourism is rebounding? Well, duh, mother, it should be rebounding if there was pretty much no flights and nobody coming because of COVID the way it was last year. This is what really bothers me about the government of Bermuda. And it's not even just them. It's really what's starting to bother me about us, the people of Bermuda, because we don't even speak back to this nonsense. Folks, where I am, where I work, every comparison is done with 2019 and prior.
But
like, how will we even, like, how do we even censure? Honestly, I get heated because people keep bringing up, like, oh, you got emotional with the premier. The reason for is because, folks, when are we going to stop accepting such nonsense? Like, how does this make you feel? Like, don't you feel they're playing you for stupid?
I would have loved, I wish I would have said it. I wish we would have asked the question of how did this article make you feel before we talked about it, to see whether people believed this article and took it to say, oh, things are looking up, before we actually dove into it to see what the reaction was after, like before and after. And then I was also going to say to you, Jamal, I'm in retail. I am in retail, and all of my budgets are based on 2019. We look at what sold in 2019, what we're going to order. We do like gaze to see 2021, 2022, see what, see what's happened. Sorry, 2020 and 2021 to see what's happened. But we base a lot of it on 2019. So if I'm doing that in retail, I don't get it. And then as you said, I am confused. These titles just move so fast on me. So Jason Hayward is now the Minister of Labor and Economy. When did this happen? And maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we need we need a breakdown.
I can't keep up. Sean DeShield says lies and deceptions with the objective of seeking votes. That's it. Like literally put out that the economy is improving, moving in the right direction, and get people on your side. But again, and that's why the question's what it is, folks. Are you feeling the impact of improving GDP? Remember what I said to David Barrett, Premier of Bermuda, the first time he ever came on this show. And remember what I always say. I'm consistent with it. I used to say it to Michael Dunkley and Michael Fay when they were the OBA government. Folks, at the end of the day, a good government doesn't have to tell you what they've done to improve your life because you feel it. You feel it. A good government, like a good employer, doesn't have to tell you how good they're treating you because you feel it. You're happy to go to work. What is with this government literally deceiving people? Let's go back to the comments. Michelle White says that new business is likely by those businesses types that register with the monetary authority, i.e. reinsurance, banking, trust, family business. How many people have they hired should be the question. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Tamara Richardson says, people don't need reports to know. That was a lot of words to mislead. Look around, nothing works, nothing is maintained. That is not the sign of a growth economy. She says, correction, our roads are maintained over and over, and so our cars no longer work. Don't get me started on that. Michelle White says, yes, he was given the title after Minister Dickinson quit. I do remember that. Okay. Rosalind Famous said, just to clarify, not every single industry is looking back at 2019. Only my industry reports have looked back to each year of the pandemic. I didn't say every industry, but main governments. Look at governments. Many of them are using because they know it's not misleading. At the end of the day, Rosalind, this is a misleading press conference release and information by the government of Bermuda, including the Minister Jason Hayward. It's misleading. From a business perspective, business-wise, now internally, your company may be doing that with employees, but good companies, I mean, unless a company is doing really well and the pandemic recession didn't impact them, right? But to use tourism, literally, tourism, really? Really? Come on. We can't defend the indefensible. This was misleading by the government of Bermuda. But the question, folks, for you, are you feeling the impact of an improving GDP that the minister, Jason Hayward? But let's go on. Let's go on.
I was going to say, yeah.
Tourism arrivals and expenditure were up as Bermuda reopened for leisure and business visitors. Well, if it were closed, of course it's going to be up if one person comes, right, Sandra? I mean, okay. Again, this is why you compare to 2019. And I've said this before. When these comparisons are done to be exact and accurate, you don't just compare to 2019, right? You break it down, and this is where people have failed. Look, folks, I ask questions. I don't do it to be a jackass. I ask questions because I really want to know the answers. So if you compare it to 2019, the government needs to also take into account that in 2019, we had this large hotel property with 593 rooms. That doesn't exist today. So you take that into account as well. But this misleading report?
But I think that maybe the report could have been more detailed. Like, let's say in 2019 it was this,
Mhm.
2021 it was this. Like, let's compare for this so we can see where we were. We can
Mhm.
see, at 2019, 2021, this is where we went, and now it's growing.
Sancha, that's not science. It makes too much sense. Like it's
It's too
it,
honest. It's too
it's
honest.
too easy. But again, and honesty in politics, they don't fix this. So let me go on. This is the part that really gets me, Sancha, because we read these things, so Sancha probably just wants me to go through it so you all can really get why
Like, get to it.
the island hosted 12,200 air visitors during this period, up from 3,423 in the first quarter of 2021. The sector saw 17,306.4% improvement in air visitor spending over last year. In addition, hotel gross receipts for the first quarter were 39,198.1% above 2021 levels. Folks, you see why this is misleading? Do you see why this is misleading? Do you, like, anyone who defends this, honestly, just come out the closet, say your PLP to the bone. You don't care how much they lied to us, what hole they take us down. Like, I'm writing with PLP. Like, for them, like, folks, oof, calm down, Jamel. I literally just got a headache. I got a headache because for some reason, I don't think we care enough. And then, David Byrd and his troops are going to be out there canvassing, telling you how they've improved your life and how the country is bouncing back. Folks, ask questions.
Yeah.
Bermuda's in a bad state. I'm telling you, Bermuda's in a bad state. And I'll just use this one example of Bermuda being in a bad state. If you don't understand it from here, then I don't know what to say. The largest hotel property, 593 rooms, is shut down. It's take away the tourist perspective. Let's say no tourists were there, right? And locals supported it. The amount of shows that Nadunja maybe had up there that brought people. The amount of weddings, the local weddings that took place. The distribution companies that supplied it, right? The jobs that existed for that property. Folks, we have to ask questions. If we don't ask questions, this is the kind of information that we're going to be given because it's what they think of you. They think that they can just tell you that the economy is growing and it's bounced back because you're not going to ask questions. And you're not going to say, to yourself, 2021 was dead. Like, you're not going to think like that. You're just going to think, their government's doing a great job. Tourism's bouncing back. There's no such thing. And the way to measure it for yourself is simply the question of the morning, which many of you haven't answered. Are you feeling the impact of an improving GDP? Answer that, yes or no. Are you feeling it? That's how you should measure the impact of how your government is doing based on the impact of how your life is improving or not improving. Sean DeShield says, comparisons should be made to determine how tourism growth is real against other tourism destinations. They'll never do that. We've spoken about that for years. They won't do that. You know why, Sean? You know why, Sean? Our friends to the west are experiencing tourism boom. Well, look, Turks and Caicos. I've read quite a few stories since the pandemic began of how they've been just booming and booming and booming. That's one island. Let me tell you a quick story before we go to break and wrap it up. One of my close friends, he's in my wedding. It's from Turks and Caicos Islands, right? Remember, we were in college, met some girls, and they asked, "Where are you from?" I said, "From Bermuda." Says Turks and Caicos. Well, I've heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but what the is that? Did you just make that up? I don't say that to be funny. I say that because Turks and Caicos, out of nowhere to many, has become the it destination. The it destination. But Bermuda, we have a majority black labor government and we're happy with them because it's not the other guys. It's a recipe for disaster. Are you feeling the impact of an improving GDP? Carmen Jones says, no. What I feel is money having been. I don't know if she finished that. Sean DeShield says, significant hotel development is also occurring in Jamaica and Bahamas. Let's take a quick break, folks. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back. And when we come back, we'll do the daily play and wrap it up. But if you appreciated today's conversation and discussion, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations. Folks, you need to be asking questions. Do not just sit back and take what government's giving you. This is your country. It's your country. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
I'm part of the SSCP, giving us opportunities to go out and sell, which is what I'm doing today.
One of the most important things I learned in the SSCP is that failure is just a part of being an entrepreneur.
As a vocal community, then you can't go anywhere, can you?
I just believe it's a really beautiful and amazing experience for everybody.
A lot of late nights being up, trying to finalize things, especially for me.
You don't have to do everything at once. Little steps is the key to success.
They helped me go through every step of the way.
It has helped me gain more confidence, so that's one thing.
I'm Marley Spriggs and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Joshua Allen and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Trey Robertson Richards and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Namira Rayner and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Vincent Darrell and I am an entrepreneur.
I'm Shayla Swan and I'm an entrepreneur.
I am Sophia Paxenhan. I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Zion and I'm a young entrepreneur.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, Lindo's. Appreciate what they do, the continued support. If you appreciated today's discussion and daily focus, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you're sharing these conversations among your circles, whether it's through chats, friends, family. These discussions are extremely important for our community, our children, our future, our now. Folks, we've got to stay on top of things. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol, and Bermuda Trivia, now available for purchase at many places. Somerset Pharmacy, People's Pharmacy, Flying Colors, Caesars Pharmacy, Robertson Drugstore. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Don't get caught by Mr. Photogenic asking you questions out there. You never know where he's going to be. And folks, if you don't get it right, he will, you will become our entertainment. He'll meme you. Sancha, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. It's a Who Said It. Quote, help her out, folks. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. And this is from an African leader.
No, I'm going to say Nelson.
Who? What was that?
I'm going to say Nelson Mandela. Am I right?
Woo! Give her a round of applause, folks. Give her a round of applause. Give her a round of applause.
Did you hear me whisper? I feel like I know these answers, but I get nervous and I'm like, oh.
Round of applause. She got it. She got it. She got it. She got it. She was like, it's like you circled the right answer, then you erased it, you circled it again, then you erased it, then you went with the other answer. Yeah. You got that. Nelson Mandela did say it, and I agree with that quote. It's not an act of charity, poverty. It's an act of justice. Any final thoughts on the discussion about the airline direct route, and then the focus regarding government and the growth of the GDP?
So as I said, so let's start. I appreciated all the suggestions of different destinations that we should consider. My top were Cayman, DC, Switzerland. Opening light to those. And I just want to say, as I said, I wish that there were more business minded people in those rooms negotiating for us during these times, because it's great to say, oh, we're going to have a flight that just pops up to take us somewhere, but how does it benefit us? And we always need to be asking that question, and not selfishly just our needs of where we want to go, but how is it, as you said, benefiting Bermuda as a whole? When it comes to this article by Minister Hayward, I just urge everyone to not take what the government says as gospel, and ask yourself, why are they giving us this information, and how is it benefiting them to give us this information, especially during this time? Sit back and analyze. It's funny because I actually had a conversation with one of my friends last night, and I was like, have you seen this article? How does it make you feel? And at first they were just like, oh, I think it's BS. And then they started thinking about it more. And then it's like, oh, well, maybe it is true. And then like we had a conversation and broke it down, and they were like, yeah, I get it. More conversations like this had to be had so we can all be enlightened, so that we can hold our government accountable. And then also, maybe it'll get new people in the room that we actually feel comfortable voting for, that are actually going to do something for us.
Yeah, I agree. As far as direct routes airline, I don't have the answers, folks. Again, I don't sit here with the answers. I know it all. I actually know very little, but that's why we have these conversations, so that we can all figure out what may be in the best interest of Bermuda. So I appreciate the contribution by the audience as far as what would make sense for a direct route to Bermuda. Regarding the minister, I just want people to wake up, be more aware and alert of what's going on around them and how it impacts them. A government should never have to tell you what they've done for you, like your job. An employer should not have to tell you they're a great employer because they pay you or they give you health insurance. No. You should feel that they value you. That you should feel that you're worthy when you wake up and go to that employer. That's how it should work with governance. Ask questions, not because you know it all, but because you want to know more. Your life depends on it.
Yes.
You've got some daily inspiration for us, Sanj?
I do. I just got lost in your summary. Thank you, Jamal. So there is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction. And that is proven free.
I love that one. I love that. Thank you so much. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sancha Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and a great day. We're out. Peace.